So on to today's session. Well, you may remember in my last session, I talked about 2022 having a summer self-development challenge. And I suggested I was going to give 22 different self-development ideas that perhaps you could try on over the summer of 2022. And we did 11 last week, and I'm going to do 11 this week. So what I said last time was, pick one of these and just state your intention. State your intention of what you want. Be clear in what you want. And look, it doesn't have to be a SMART goal or a power goal or another acronym goal. It's just what you want. What is your intention in what you're trying to do and what you're trying to develop? Because look, I'll let you into a little secret. This session is about, yes, trying and challenging yourself, but it's also about building positive self-development habits so you can develop yourself. Okay, so what's your intention? Then you decide what techniques and tips and strategies you're going to use, and I'll be talking about them for all the ideas I put forward. What action are you going to take? You've got to take action, because if you don't take action, it's just an idea, isn't it? If you don't follow through on that, review your ideas as you're going along and ask people for help. And then lastly, how are you going to celebrate? How are you going to celebrate what you're doing? So stating your intention, thinking the techniques you're going to do, take action, any action, it doesn't matter what action you're going to take, and just try it on and then review your progress and of course celebrate. So last week's 11 ideas, I'm just going to go through them to remind you. Number 1 was to drink water. Number 2 was to practice seeking joy, looking for joy in the little things, okay? When you walk around, see joy. Number 3 was read more. Spend some time and schedule some time to read more. Schedule some time in your diary each day to read 20 pages, for example, of a book. What gets scheduled gets done. We know that, don't we? Take a class. Why don't you go on to Skillshare or the other different classes that are online, free classes? Take a class, learn something completely new and out your comfort zone. Number 5 was to try and reduce criticizing yourself and others. That little niggly voice in your head that says, oh, Steve, you're not good enough. Or, oh, look at her, what she got on. And we talked about, didn't we? We talked about last time that using the old phone and going on Instagram and all the other things that you swipe and you like, that's all about sometimes criticizing people, and you can find yourself doing that, and you can find the negatives in people and what they're doing. This session might not be your taste, and that's fine. That's absolutely okay with me, because I'm doing it with all the intention of sharing my ideas and helping people, with what they're doing. We said eat the rainbow, declutter a space, laugh more, unplug from your phone and electric. Number 10 was try new foods, a new cuisine, and a new way of cooking. And number 11, where we stopped it, was spend some quality time with people. So that's what I talked about last time, and if you want to see that, you can always go and see that video and go and search on it there, and you can see it. So let's talk about the next. I've realized I say the word let's talk about quite a lot. I was watching one of my videos the other day, and I've got to think of a better way of saying let's talk about. So anyway, enough of that. Let's go on to the next 11 to complete the 22. So my number 12 is spend some quality time with people. Find some time in your day when you're literally just spending quality time. It could be sitting watching the TV together, sharing a little box of chocolates. It could be going for a walk. It could be sitting on a bench with someone. Have you ever done that? I'm sure you have done that, but have you ever been on a walk and you found a bench and you just sat down and just had some quality time? It doesn't have to cost money, but you could go out for a meal. You could go to the cinema. You could watch a silly old movie. But number 12 is spend some quality time. And the way you do that, you have to move things around in your diary and be conscious of putting that quality time in. What about number 13 then? When some people say to me, 13 is an unlucky number. I don't think it is. Why don't you, for 13, challenge yourself over the summer to make somebody's day every day? So if you go to the supermarket, make sure you say thank you to the person that's there, the person that's helping you packing your bags. Or, if you see somebody and they're wearing something amazing, just say, I love your dress, or that's a great hat. And, have a bit of fun with it. Make someone's day. if somebody is unfortunately, who lives on the streets and, they found themselves in bad times, why don't you make their day by going to buy them a sandwich and a cup of hot tea or a cold drink? Or there's another one. It doesn't have to be, like that. I do that. I often, when I go out for a meal, I often always try and do that and try and, help someone else with a meal. But what about giving someone an ice cold bottle of water? Your postman or your postperson, your postwoman may come every day, and they come every day. They don't even know you, but they look after your post. Why don't you give them a bottle of cold water maybe to make their day? Number 14, why don't you make your own day? Why don't you rest? Look, summer, and I'm sorry for the people that aren't in summer at the moment, but the summertime can be quite a busy time. We try and do so much. We think the sun comes out and we've got to do this, we've got to paint the garden, we've got to do the path, we've got to clear up, we've got to declutter, we've got to do the weeds, we've got to, so you can see what my list is, can't you, in a minute? We've got to clean the car. Why don't you just rest? Have a day when you are just resting. And don't even use the word just. When you are resting, it is your rest day. Put that in your diary and just have a rest day. However, whatever the word rest means to you, whether it means like you're on holiday where you have a lovely breakfast and you sit in your lounge and you do a bit of reading and you go for a walk, just don't do any work. Don't look at screens if you can, but just have a rest day. And I like to try and schedule in every month at least one clear day of where I'm not working. So next week, I'm going to go to a wonderful theatre. And I'm sorry if you're watching this after that, that theatre's not doing what it's doing, but it's doing 3 plays in one day. The Sheffield Crucible. 3 amazing plays in one day where the actors are going to run between the different Sheffield theatres. Oh wow, it's going to be amazing. I have booked that in my diary, and that's Saturday for me. Although it might seem busy going to 3 plays, it's a full day of rest. It's me doing something different, completely different. So why don't you pick as idea 14 something over the summer, try and put some rest days in. It's all about building habits, and it's all about getting yourself used to doing these things. Number 15, this is a fantastic habit that I do every week. I have an electronic audit. And by what that means is I firstly I do a virus scan. So I scan all my computers for a virus scan, and then I also do an update. And then I do another virus scan. Now, why do I do that? Is because you may have something on your computer already, and then you update, and then it may affect that. So I do a virus scan, I have a program that does it, I do an update, and then a virus scan. Then I do a backup, and I back up all my items I use Apple, so I use it in the cloud, and I also have a physical backup. It doesn't take long, you just press a button and it does it, okay? I also look through emails and get rid of any emails and get rid of anything that, I've done or dealt with or spam. And then I tidy up my desktop. I take all the files because I tend to use my desktop as a place where I put stuff. But you must put it into a file afterwards. So I do an electronic audit, and that's a fantastic tip. And I try and do that. Actually, I do it on a Sunday morning usually before I'm preparing for sessions that I deliver on the internet. 16, volunteer. Take some time out to volunteer. Can you volunteer for a project? You don't have to do it officially. You don't have to go and join something. You might want to pick up some litter around your area. You might want to volunteer and ask your neighbour, can I just mow your lawn as well, or put your bins out? That's volunteering, isn't it? And you also want to join something. You might have a festival where you are, or a community event. Why don't you volunteer? Why don't you spend some time volunteering and build a habit of volunteering? Number 17 habit that I do every day, and it literally has helped me with my productivity and my self-development. Do 5 things a day. I'll say that again. Do 5 things a day. I have a list, a post-it note list of the 5 things I must do every day. They're not projects, folks. They're not massive pieces of work. They are 5 things, if I got these done today, would help me be more productive or help me relax a little bit, or just tick the stuff off. Now, what happens if I don't do the 5 things a day? Well, I try my hardest to get them done. I try not to overload myself, so I try not to have 6 things, 7 things, 8 things. Okay, what I do is I try and do 5 things. I'm going to take a sip of water. That was one of our habits from last time, wasn't it? 5 things a day, and I get the post-it note, and there's great satisfaction in getting your list done, scribble in the post-it note and put it in the bin, and you've got them done. Number 18. I talk a lot about mind, body, spirit, and emotional intelligence and relationships. What's a positive emotion that over the summer you could learn about and cultivate? Say that again. What one positive emotion you could learn about, study, and cultivate over the summer period? What about looking for work on the internet to celebrate joy? That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Researching joy and finding where people find joy. Positiveness, productivity, purposeful. Think of all those emotion words, not the negative ones, because emotions are just emotions, aren't they? But you know, when you have a positive emotion, it usually creates motion as well. So what's a positive emotion that you could pick? One positive emotion you could pick over this summer. So we're doing a lot, aren't we? Number 19, folks, is watch people. Why don't you build a habit of just some watching people? Do some people watching. Not people staring. Don't do people staring. That's a bit weird. Not people stalking, but that's even weirder. People watching. Just sit down one day and spend 5 minutes watching people. I love doing this every day. I'm very privileged. I've got a gym that I go to, and we've got a swimming pool and a jacuzzi. And you know what I love doing? I love sitting in the pool and just taking a bit of a step back, not in the jacuzzi, in the pool, and just watching what's going on. And it's amazing what brilliance you see around you. You know, in my pool, particularly on the weekends, we have kids who are learning to swim. Just watching a youngster learning to swim is just joyous. And they make mistakes, and they squeak, and they squawk, and they splash, and they're scared, and they're excited all at the same time. It's fantastic to watch. Or you watch the people just taking their time, walking in the pool, getting some exercise, and just people watch. Have you ever people watch? If people watch, where's the best place? Where would you say the best place, actually, if you're watching me? Where's the best place that you people watch? Where's your people watching spot, maybe? Right, 20. Why don't you have a bath? No, not a normal bath in water. Why don't you have a bath in nature? My friend Fiona, and you might have seen Fiona. Fiona does bamboo bathing. Isn't that great? So she's got a bamboo tree, and she walks in her bamboo tree. It's very sensuous. You know, you can hear the sound, you can feel it. It energizes Fiona, this bamboo walking, this bamboo bathing. Or why don't you go in the field and walk through the field. Go and bathe yourself in nature. Find a forest, find a place where you can walk through the trees. Do you know what? Walking soothes quite a lot of things, especially in nature and when it's quiet. 21. Idea 21. We've done loads, haven't we? 21 is write down 10 ideas a day. James Altucher has written a book about this, I think, and it's about what he does. He gets little pads, like waiter's pads, and he challenges himself to write 10 ideas a day, and it could be anything. It could be 10 ways to fly to the moon or get to the moon. It could be 10 ways to solve congestion. It could be 10 ways to improve this service. It could be 10 ways to get fitter. 10 ways to help myself or put vitamins in my body. 10 ways to drink more water. And if you think about it, all these 22 ideas I'm going to do, why don't you, and you'll have a look I'll post below the whole ideas. Why don't you start off by saying, what's 10 ways I could declutter my space or rest or volunteer? So 10 ideas a day. And if you think about it, if you do the 10 ideas habit a day for 365 days, 3,650 ideas you've got. You could write a book based on them, or you could sell those ideas to other people. What I find when I do the 10 ideas challenge is that I sort of get stuck about idea 6 or 7. So I asked myself, and this is a great self-development tip, is I asked myself, what if I could just add one more? If I could, what would be with the one more? And then I do it again and challenge myself to get to 10. And 22, make something. Why don't you, over the summer, learn to make something? Now, we did talk about trying new food and cuisine and cooking, but why don't you learn to make balloon animals? I did that one summer when I worked in America, and I learned how to make balloon animals. It was brilliant, fantastic. Why don't you learn to do Lego? Why don't you why don't you make something I'm talking about? Why don't you make a new garden? Why don't you make a model? Why don't you make something with the kids? Why don't you make a tent in your house that the kids can sleep in inside? Just think about making something. Use your hands and enjoy that process. Don't judge yourself. It doesn't have to be amazing and brilliant. You know, I did some stuff earlier this year, Start Your Art. I did a few art classes, and I've got a picture of my art. Just, you can't see it there. In fact, let me just get it. There you go. That's my art. It's not brilliant. It's not amazing, but I love it. And you know why I love it? I love it because I look up at that picture and it reminds me to start. It reminds me to take a leap, have a go, and try. And that's what I'd love you to do over the summer. Pick something. It could be one of the 22 I've just talked about. It could be something different. State your intention. Think of all the ways you're going to do it, your techniques, list 10 of them maybe, as I said. Take some action, review how you're getting along. How do you feel? How does this, trying a new idea, trying something different, having those 5 fruits a day, eating the rainbow, how does that make you feel? How does it make you feel that you've not got your phone for a day? Scary, I know, but why don't you try it and see what happens? Why don't you find somewhere where you can sit and watch people? Bathe yourself in nature. Have a rest day. Make people's day. As you can see, I'm just reading what I've got on my screen on my list here. But why don't you have a go over this summer to challenge yourself to build a new positive self-development habit?